It's my pleasure to welcome you all to how to use AI to write social media content. It's the second in our series of webinars for nonprofits, talking specifically about AI and the nonprofit. It's an interesting journey we're going on here at iGive, and we thought it'd be instructive if we shared our learning with all the folks who know about us and perhaps with folks who don't know about us. It's really interesting. I've been doing tech for a long time, and I have the gray hair to prove it. And some of this stuff just is flabbergasting how easy some of it is and how hard some of it is. So it is indeed a journey. With that, we're going to make this even more interesting. One of the things we promised you is to a little bit of a new promo. After I talk a quick second about the promo, I'm going to introduce my cohort in crime. But first, most importantly, and this is something my wife told me after our last webinar, we didn't actually talk about iGive enough. So I'm going to talk a little bit about iGive. As you know, every time one of your supporters goes shopping at one of about 1,800 different stores, a little bit of money goes to help your cause. Well, we're going to juice that a little bit. If you get new members to shop within 30 days of their joining, your cause will get an extra $5 bonus. This is unrestricted money. Use it however you'd like. It runs starting today, and it goes through the 31st. So they have 30 days to join and shop. They have more than 30 days to join, and they have 30 days after they join to shop. Okay, with that tortured explanation, I am now going to throw the microphone to Judson Elmore, who's going to take you through our journey. Judson, it's all yours.
Thank you, Rob, for the introduction and for the presentation of this webinar today. Great. So yes, as Rob said, my name is Judson Moore. I recently joined iGive as the Director of Cause Relations, which essentially means I'm here to find opportunities to support nonprofits, especially through the services we offer with iGive, but also through just information sharing, which is part of what we're here to do today. So first piece of business is we have, if you joined the last webinar, we have a new means by which to collect questions. If you have a question, you can post them in the sidebar of the website where you're watching this video right now. I'm actually going to stop sharing my presentation for a moment just so that I can show you how that looks. So this should be the page that you are on right now on causes.igive.com. And here on the left side is the video player that's playing this video, hopefully. And on the right side, there is another column where we have a Q&A. So some questions have already been asked, and great, I see some thumbs up are also going in here. So there's some interest in some of these questions. That's fantastic. But at the very top, you'll see a little box that says type your question. And in here, you can ask your question. And you can just send it directly and it'll be anonymous, or you can add your name and we would better be able to address you that way. While we're looking at this page, underneath the video player, there's some additional information about this webinar. This is the information that we shared in advance of what this webinar would be. And then further is a long list of links to services, some of which we're going to show today, not all of them, but it's a library of resources that should be helpful throughout this conversation. And then lastly, if you're unfamiliar with iGive, there's some information here about iGive, a join button to create an account. You can also add our browser extension, which is where the money is generated for nonprofits when supporters are shopping online. And you can, of course, follow us on social media. Okay, so with that, I'm going to go back to the presentation and we will get into it. Okay, so today, as we had a notification earlier, the webinar is being recorded. We're going to be here for about an hour or so. The first 30 minutes, we're going to talk about general practices of working with AI, some of the tools that we use, etc. And we're going to try to spend the sizable amount of time on a live demo. Then we'll carve out about half an hour for answering any questions that came up to the best of our ability, of course, and anything that we don't get to within this hour, we'll be sure to post in a summary report of this webinar after it concludes. Okay, so maybe a little bit about you, our audience. So this is the second in a series of webinars that we're doing, and as with the first webinar we already hosted 2 weeks ago, about half of you have worked with AI before, at least to one degree or another. That also means that about half of our registered audience doesn't have experience working with AI. So we're trying to make sure that we're cognizant of that and trying to explain the basics and fundamentals of AI and what the options are and things to look at, as well as some of the more advanced things that we can do with AI as well. The vast majority of people seem to be using AI mostly for text and document generation, but some of you are also making images as well, and that's great because today we are going to look at one way to make images. And then there was a bunch of questions. We already saw a bunch of questions are coming in, and there were some skepticisms about AI written as well, particularly is this new technology ready for the mainstream or not? And we might address that as well. So reminder, this was a big point we made last time, and I thought we should make it again here because we won't talk about this, I think, so much through the demo. But what is AI and what is it really doing? Well, of course, that's very technical. We won't go into the details here today. But because it has read and observed so much of the internet's content, it has a pretty good idea of what things are, quote, supposed to look like. But it isn't perfect. It is guessing. These large language models are looking at text inputs and then assuming what would be a good response. And it's very good at that. And, you know, on its best of days, it can really feel magical. But it can make mistakes. It often makes mistakes, and most AIs will also be the first one to tell you that that they aren't perfect and that they're still being trained, right? So as we go today, especially through the live demo, be on the lookout for things that might not be just quite right. Oop, wrong button. Okay, so AI, there's loads of options out there. This is just a small grouping of some of the logos that you might recognize. Last time for our demo, we chose to work with Copilot. Copilot is an AI by Microsoft, and for our last use case, which was writing press releases, we thought we'd give that a try, in part because it was free and easy, but also because we hadn't used it before, and we thought, hey, why don't we learn something too while we're at it? So we used Copilot last time, but for today, we thought that we would start our journey using Gemini. So Gemini is the AI that is created by Google, and I'll just comment that they aren't a sponsor of us, and we're not necessarily endorsing Google or Gemini either, just because we chose to work with them here today. There's a lot of tools that we could use, but we chose Gemini because it has both free and paid versions. So I'm going to use a paid version, but I also experimented with the free version. It was also quite good for the scope of what we have today. And what I've noticed since experimenting myself with Google, just really the last week or two, is that it has a really nice integration into other Google apps like Google Mail and Calendar, search, and I use a lot of those tools all the time. And so for me, I thought that was pretty neat that Gemini is tied into these other apps that I'm using from Google. But it does have some drawbacks. Notably, its context memory is limited. So what is that? Context memory. It is, like some of the other popular AIs right now, presented in a chat form. So you type something, it responds, you type again, it responds again. You're really in a conversation, a dialogue with this algorithm that feels very natural, right? but that memory is limited. Parts of the value really of a chat is that it remembers what you said before, and so its answers can become more and more specific and exacting to what it is that you are trying to accomplish. And it does that, but it has a shorter memory than some of the other AIs out there from what I could see. And one other potential drawback is that a Google account is required. So even though it is there is a free version, you would need to create a free Google account as well to access Gemini. So if you're not already a Google user, then that could also be a drawback as well. Okay, so it's not the only tool we're going to use today. Turns out AIs, well, these chat AIs, as cool as they are and as much as they can do, they can't do it all. So we decided to present a suite of tools, and I'll go through, well, you'll see what each of these are, and they're all linked in the notes below the video player or in the description. And first, we're going to start with Google Gemini to create some texts, get some inspiration. Then we're going to use a tool called Crayon, which is also an AI for image generation. Then we're going to use something called Remove BG, remove background, to remove some backgrounds from images. It's not AI as far as I know, but I think it has some AI features. Then we're going to put some of that together in a tool called Canva. And finally, we're going to post to Facebook, to social media, and we'll see the outcome of our efforts then. Right, so we're going to get written content from an AI, we're going to get images from an AI, we're going to use some templates to put it all together, and we're going to post to Facebook. So what is our use case? Well, this image you might recognize as the image that we used to promote this webinar. And I chose this image. I did not create it. I really liked it. You know, we have a professional figure here looking off towards the social media icons. There's this nice background that is reminiscent of technology and computation. And I thought that spoke nicely to the idea of a webinar about using AI for social media. So I thought, well, why don't we try to use this as inspiration and create an image that is directionally somewhere like this. So that's what we're going to do. Also, we're going to post a landscape image on Facebook. So I wanted to share this very confusing table, which are all the variety of sizes of images that different popular social media platforms expect images to be in for these different cases, from profile photos to different types of posts down to cover photos. So we don't need... Nobody expects anybody to memorize this. This is something that we will share afterwards, but it could be a nice reference that if you're posting one of these types of posts to one of these types of social media, and you have the option to create an image from scratch, that you go ahead and create the image from the first step in these dimensions. Now that being said, all of these platforms will also crop an image to make it look appropriate inside of the place where it's being displayed. And 9 times out of 10, that's perfectly fine. The place where you could get in trouble, though, is if you have an image with text on it, because then the text could get cut off in a place that you don't expect. So, okay, we're creating a Facebook post today in landscape mode, landscape proportions, 1200 by 630. All right, well then let's get on with the demo. With that, I'm going to actually stop again sharing the presentation, and we're going to go through a couple of tabs that I have open here already. So the first one is Gemini. So I've already logged into Gemini, but you can access it at gemini.google.com. And here we just get greeted by this nice prompt. Hey, Judson, how can I help you today? And it gives us also some ideas what we can do, and a place here where we can input our first prompt. So in thinking about what sort of post to social media we want to make today, I thought actually it was right in front of me. I spent a long time thinking about what the right case should be. And ultimately, I was like, oh, well, I'm going to want to post a recap of this webinar to social media. So why don't we just work together on writing that post? So I already have a prompt written here. And the prompt says, I'm not going to read everything throughout this course, but the prompts are, the first prompt or two are pretty important, so I figured I'd just read it out loud. So it says, I'm the Director of Cause Relations at iGive.com. Today, I presented a webinar titled How to Use AI to Write Social Media Content. The webinar was presented by iGive.com. The audience was primarily nonprofit and cause administrators. During the webinar, we provide a list of resources and other services that participants can use to get started with AI. Now that the webinar is over, we will post a recording on our website and promote that content on Facebook. Please suggest some text that I can use on both the featured image to get people's attention and also text to use in the post description. Okay, so there's a couple of things happening here. First, I'm giving it context. I'm letting it know who am I, who are we, what have we done today, and what's kind of the general, the general scope of what I want it to do or to consider when I ask it specifically what I want it to do. I let it know that we're going to provide some resources and services that participants can get started using with AI. And then I also let it know, hey, the webinar is now over. It's in the past. We're not promoting something in the future again. And then, please suggest some texts. And I want those texts to be something I can use on the featured image and also as the post description. All right, so let's just click send. Let's see what it tells us. It thinks for a moment. It's usually very fast. And it'll start to give us some ideas about what we can do. So this is great. All right, off the bat, it says feature. There's a couple sections here. We have feature on the pain point, focus on time saving, focus on impact, and some additional tips. Okay, let's see what it says. So we have a featured image text here. So tired of writing social media posts? AI can help. It's not bad. Post description. Did you miss our live webinar? How to use AI in social media content? Don't worry. The recording is now available. Discover how AI can save you time and supercharge your cause promotion on social media. And a link to the recording. Well, it's pretty good, actually. I have to say, I demoed this a few times in advance of the webinar, and so far, that's kind of hitting it. Let's see what else we have. We have featured image text. Write better social posts in half the time. It's also nice. With the description of short on time but need impactful social media. Check out the recording of our webinar, How to Use AI to Write Social Media Content. Learn how AI tools streamline your workflow and help you reach a wider audience. I got to say, I rather like that quite a lot as well. So let's just read one more here. Grow your cause faster with AI-powered social. Ready to make a bigger impact? Watch our webinar replay on how to use AI to write social media content. Get the tools and strategies to boost engagement, attract new supporters, and spread the word about your mission. Well, that's quite good. I like that it pulls the mission in, right? This is an important factor. In fact, actually, I like that a lot. Let's say, let's let it know. Let's have a little conversation. I like the tips for focusing on impact. Can you give me some more choices around that? Specifically, we should keep the message mission focused for causes and their communities. Let's see what it says. And it gives us some more options here. And I'm not going to read through all of this again. One of these may very well be better than another or better on some metric. But I'm going to just go with the first one. If I don't see anything objectionable, discover AI help. I think that looks pretty good. I also get through some hashtags in there, and those all look appropriate as well. Okay, so just so that for the case of time, and so we can move on, we're going to go ahead and go with this. But I think that these initial choices it gave me were already quite good based on the context of what I gave it and asked it for. And then having given it the feedback to be more mission focused and community oriented, I can see some of those words kind of popping out here on the screen more as well. So we could continue, of course, to let it know if we want additional variations. Okay, so we have our text. Now we need an image. So for image generation, actually Gemini will generate images, but I want to introduce a different tool. This is called Crayon, and it's very interesting because not only is it's a freemium, which means there's a free and a paid version, but you don't even need to create an account in order to use the free version. So here I'm going to provide a prompt I've already written. It says, I would like an image of AI circuitry background in the style of Van Gogh's Starry Night and 1200 by 630 pixels. Yeah, and the style can be art, it could be photo, drawing, but let's say it's an art style. We see here already some Van Gogh images it's already created in the past. This Cookie Monster is awesome. Yeah, so it's letting us know stuff it's created in the past in case something there might already be for us, but let's ask it to make something new. And so this can take up to a minute. One of the advantages of creating an account here and part of their paid subscription levels is that they'll produce the image faster. They'll give you more images per minute, or remove some other type of limitation. So our estimated wait time here is 60 seconds or so. And if we don't get something here kind of quickly, I don't want to do too many iterations here. I just want to introduce the tool, show how it's used, and then move on. But you can spend hours in here just playing with. There's so much fun creativity and things that that can be experimented with. So I can definitely encourage playing with this one. And again, the link to this service, crayon.com, is in the description below the video. Okay, so here are some options. Well, I definitely see the Van Gogh style, and I definitely see the Starry Night style, but really only this first one sort of looks like circuitry. So I'm going to choose that. Well, as I said, for time, let's go with it. Let's just see what we can do with this. So note that it has created a kind of low resolution version of this image. So I'm going to click upscale here, and it's going to go again and give us a version of that image. It may be slightly different as well, but it's going to be a higher resolution. While it's doing that, I'll go ahead and introduce the next tool. We'll come back to this in a moment. So the next tool on our list is remove.bg. This is another freemium tool that has both a free and a paid version. I'm not sure what the limitation on free is, but it seems quite robust. That removes background images or backgrounds from images. And so we are going to remove something. I have two images already pre-selected that I want to remove the background of that I think will be helpful in the final image that we want to create. The first one, since I'm speaking today, I thought that I might like to have an image of me with the background taken out. So I have this kind of professional photo here, and it had a pretty clean background, but it's still a solid background. So if I wanted to place this on top of something else, maybe it's better to have no background behind me. And so it looks good. It did a good crop. So I'm going to keep that. I'm going to download that just for safekeeping. And then we see already here, there's an option here to create a design. And this logo here, this is Canva, which was another tool I wanted to use, but I thought it was really neat that they have an integration here with Remove BG straight into Canva. And actually, did we get our image yet? It is this one. Yes, there's our image. Okay, it's a little bit higher resolution, so let's go with it. We're going to download that guy too. And yeah, okay, sure. We can go with this. Okay, so we're going to create a design in Canva, and it's going to open Canva for us, but you can just go to canva.com and start. In fact, we mentioned earlier, this is an important step. We do want to have an image in the end that is a specific size. So in that case, maybe I'm actually going to create a new design, and it's going to be a custom size. And that size is going to be 1200 by 630, which it might recognize as a Facebook post landscape. Yep, there it is. So it already knows that when I put those numbers in, I'm trying to create something for Facebook. Okay, so here we have an image. We have a couple of assets already that we've created. So we have this, what we're going to use for our background somehow. We have this avatar with my background removed. That looks cool. And there was one other thing I wanted to make a remove a background from, and it is a cluster of social media icons that I saw before. That's pretty cool. That happened really fast. So it has this very attractive background to this, but I wanted to try to get just the logos in a nice cloud, and I could download all the logos and then sort them in a cloud myself. I could do that manually, but thought that's rather time consuming. So let's throw this in here too, and there we can see that those icons now have the background removed, and we are left with just the icons on top of it. So that's pretty cool. Okay. So that stuff is going to go, of course, on top of our background. And you can spend so much time doing design work. And I don't want to bore everybody with my pedantic and probably subpar design abilities. So I'm going to just do kind of something fast over here. And give ourselves something that we can at least politely agree is good enough for posting. We'll see if it's really good enough or not. So what I'm doing now is Canva offers all sorts of editing options in here. And there's a lot to look at. There's a lot of things to do. So this could be a whole webinar all on its own. But yeah, there we go. But what I'm doing here is creating some layers. I put those background images in the back, and now I put a big square on top where I want to use it as a layer to kind of mute the background a little bit. Yeah, so like something like this, maybe. And go here. Oh, I didn't realize that I was cropping out some of these images before. So we got some social media stuff here. Maybe we do I wonder if I can drop too many Judsons. In fact, just for fun, we'll just make me a talking head down here at the bottom, because that's probably how you see me anyway. And yeah, put me down there. And then I think we can go back and get some texts. So we'll add some text elements here. It gives us a couple options for text sizes. And we'll left align these guys and maybe make them white in color just to stand out against that background. If we go back over to Gemini, let's see. So the text we wanted to use was this first one, right? So connect with more supporters using AI. Okay, I still stand by that. Connect with more supporters using AI. And the other one is this description. Okay, and this description is going to go in the post. Okay, so we can maybe take some of this out. And how about, because now I'm kind of washed out there since that's a dark background. I wonder if instead of this being a white color, if it was a lighter, that's not, oh, that's the branding. Sure, we can go with this. And we will make this text as big as we can get it without falling off the edge. And then maybe there's a more fun shape. Well, maybe triangles are fun. I'm just thinking like, how can I do something behind me here so that I stand out a bit? And that could be by turning this like that. Yeah. Okay. It's a little bit amateur. I'm not really a designer. I could spend enough time on this to make it kind of convincing, but we've sort of accomplished the raw basics of what we need to do here, right? We've got an AI created text. We have a description we'll use in a moment. We've generated an AI image background, which, you know, we could spend hours there trying to find the perfect image or find something from other places online. There's so many creative places we could look for these things. We have a nice logo cloud here of different social media platforms, and we talk about how it's a. You know what? We don't actually talk about that it's a webinar. So I do want to add that. I would say new webinar recording. And why don't we, while we're at it, you put this here, and then there's got to be. I wonder if I can do. Let's see if I can search for something like curved arrow. See, there's a bunch of pro features in here. Aha. Yeah, well, I'm not a recording and I'm not a webinar, but maybe it somehow draws the attention that like I was part of the webinar. I'm already assuming this is not going to be what we post, what I'm going to post in the end on social media. I'm going to probably spend some more time kind of massaging this, but you've seen some of the basic tools, and I think that for demonstration purposes, this is already quite good for the short period of time. So how do we get this image now out of Canva and into Facebook? Up here, there's a share button. And I always find it confusing. Like share sounds like, you know, you want to share maybe the project to someone, but inside of share also contains the download button. If we click this, we get some options for how we want to download it. It supports different image files, PDFs. If you're a premium member, you can do scalable vector images, SVGs. Even you can do videos, by the way, which are very, very cool, that they offer video support even on the free accounts now. But we're going to stick with PNG, and we'll download that. And it's working to download. And looks like I have it. All right, so then all we have to do now is go post to social media. So this is the iGive.com Facebook page, which you can find at facebook.com/iGive. And here I'm able to post something. So first I'm going to post the photo that we just created. There it is, looks good. The cropping looks appropriate. And then I'm going to grab this text that we got from Gemini, and then link to the recording is going to be available at this link. So there it is. Okay, so quick little, because I always like to add in a feeling, and I'm pretty excited. So let's go with excited. Okay, discover how AI helps you write more engaging social media content. Watch the replays of our webinar, How to Use AI to Write Social Media Content, Amplify Your Mission's Reach to Inspire Change. Hashtags AI for Good, Nonprofit, and Community. And then there's the link. One thing I kind of like is when links standing by themselves are a little bit flat to me. So I'm going to add an emoji as well with a pointed finger pointing at it. Yeah, there we go. That gives a little action to the action. Okay. Now, because we haven't published this yet, and because I might want to make a change to this image, I'm going to not post this right now, but this is going to be the post that goes on. Maybe I change the image, maybe I don't. It's actually not so bad. But we do need to actually finish the webinar and post that at this link so that we actually can share it and other people will find it. Great. So with that, that's kind of the start to finish of the demo. I sure hope that some questions came in with that. I'm going to jump back over here to the presentation and do a quick wrap up before we get into the Q&A. So some quick takeaways is remember that AI is not perfect, right? It didn't give us immediately the best text that we could have had. It's arguably the background image that I asked for. I only gave it one chance to get that right. It's not fair, right? I probably need to like hone that a little bit, give it a chance to give me a couple of different options that I might be interested in. It's not perfect. It's not going to give, it doesn't know what you're thinking, right? So you have to tell it what you want. You have to be specific. You have to, you know, give really quality prompts with lots of context about what you're looking for. And that's really, you know, really great in the chat ones that remember stuff you said before. It's a little bit more difficult in some of the image generation ones where at least my feelings is that like it doesn't really remember what I asked before because it's a new prompt, it's a new image, so it starts over, and then you have to wait a while to get those images. So it's a really cool tool. But it's not the only tool in the toolbox, right? So there's a lot of tools that we use. It is one powerful tool in a suite of tools, and there's lots of other ones out there. Some of those are mentioned, described below in the description, but others are others will be yeah. But there's many others out there. Yeah. So with that. Just want to let you know that this recording will be at causes.igive.com, which is a new website that we just published in the last few weeks, which is aimed at providing resources and information specifically to causes. So much of iGive is about the shopping experience, but we're doing this for causes, right? So, so we thought that we would start to build a library of content for causes, some of which is about how to best work with iGive to raise money when you're a supporter shop online, but also how, you know, some content media information libraries with information like what we discussed today. So feel free to have a look at causes.igive.com. Give us feedback and or let us know if you want to contribute something there. If there's something is missing that we should add, if you'd like to help us write something, we're open to all of that. And very shortly, this webinar, its recordings and its summary will all be available on that website as well. Okay, I would bring Rob back in now to guide us through the Q&A. If he is with us.
I believe I'm with you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. I was having some technology problems. There are several things that you can't do simultaneously in this environment that we set up. But one of the things that people did while we were doing this, besides talk about some of the technology issues, was we have a lot of questions. So please, we're going to spend another 20 or 30 minutes. We're running long, but we're going to attempt to answer all of these questions now, or you can drop us a line at support@igive.com. So the first question, I'm just going to go in order here. What should we be aware of when using AI for social media regarding data privacy and ethical concerns?
Well, that's a great question. We are at the forefront of this new and emerging technology. So this is a great question for all of us to be considering all the time, I think. There's questions of ethics around AI. AI, ultimately, it has learned from pre-existing information. It doesn't actually, I mean, it creates variations, perhaps, of things it's already seen, but it's all based on something it's seen somewhere out in the world that was created by a person somewhere, right? And it's using that as inspiration to create new content. So absolutely, there are questions about this. There's also a lot of resources that I know that the various AI companies put into ensuring that they don't have that they're addressing the just straight copy and paste of somebody else's work and just providing it straight over here. So I think there are definitely concerns there and things to think about. It a little bit goes in the direction of this. AI isn't perfect, and part of that is to say that it's our responsibility as the human in the equation to assess what the AI is giving us. Is the content does the content feel authentic? Is it directly about us? If I write a sentence or AI writes a sentence that has my name or I give or the name of this webinar in it, well, that's probably pretty focused on here. If I ask it, I don't know, for like a code snippet for the website, did it just copy and paste that from somebody else's website? And what does that look like? So these are still a lot of unanswered questions, to be honest. But I think with most things, asking the question is the first positive step, and then using our own discernment about what looks and feels appropriate, and probably where appropriate, considering to give disclaimers as well that this content generated by AI, and how to contact the publisher in case somebody has issue with something that they find. But definitely never publish anything to the internet generated by an AI without first ensuring that it's had a human review of what it says, to check for accuracy and also for tone of voice, and that it actually says the message that you're hoping it to have created.
Next question. Are there any AI applications that are completely free to 501c3s?
Oh, that's a really good question. So there's a number. So in that list of resources in the notes below the webinar video player I've indicated which one of those are free, freemium, or paid. And the freemium ones have a free version that has some limitations and then some paid version. And this is, I have to say, this is like the norm, right? That most of these tools, as many non-AI tools on the internet, might have some free version with some limitations to give you a taste of what this product or service is. And then additionally have some premium services. There's also a few there that are that are just 100% paid, that you have to pay to gain access to them as well. So I've tried to indicate what those are. So that's a good starting point. To take a nod of part of the question about specifically to nonprofits, I think that so that's a great question. I don't know off the top of my head, but before you open a paid account with a paid service, you should check their website or even contact their customer support to ask if they offer a discount or a free version for nonprofits, because certainly there are a lot of companies out there that will offer, if nothing else, a discount to their services. Certainly not all companies, but that's a great question. That could be the topic of a future blog post on causes.igive.com, I think.
There you go. Next question. We're going to talk about a specific one of those tools, Crayon. Are there any Creative Commons restrictions on images already created in Crayon?
I believe not. I believe that everything that's created there is a Creative Commons license. Certainly we'll need to just make sure that that's 100% true. I'm not sure. I don't believe that they expect any sort of accreditation, but I will check that and give the answer in the notes after the webinar. And anybody who's ready to jump into Crayon right now, I'm sure that there's probably some text prominently displayed about how the usage of those images is allowed or not allowed. But I'm pretty sure it's a Creative Commons license.
So Emily asks sort of a broader question in the same vein. Are there copyright issues when using source material online and then manipulating it through these AI programs?
So generally not. If you are, and again, of course, I'm not a lawyer, and there's like a sliding scale here. If you just copy and paste something that's somebody else's copywritten work, obviously that would be a violation. The problem with AI that I was alluding to earlier is it's not always clear. Did the AI copy and paste? I have the rights to use what the AI gave to me, but did the AI steal something from someone, and I have no idea. There are actually plagiarism tools out there that you can run texts through, and they're pretty good about checking if that text already exists somewhere or with very close variation. So especially like in the world of academia, I know that this is a big issue. Should be an issue for all of us, though, because plagiarism obviously no good. This goes back to the kind of consideration that as a person, always like have that in your mind. And I think you're already 99% of the time you're going to be covered just because you're even asking the question. And if you're asking the question, then you can probably do a quick verification by Google searching the text and see if there's any hits that are an exact match, for example. The way you do that is in a Google search, wrap it in quotes so that it gets the exact phrase. But it's a really good question. I'm hearing a lot of legal questions, which I love, but it also brings to mind that maybe in the future we should ask for AI legal experts to speak as well, or work with such a person to write some deeper details into an article in the coming weeks. So if anybody knows somebody like this and wants to send them our way, please do. Yeah.
All right, so to move off of the legal for just a second, how can AI help in scheduling and planning social media content?
Oh, that's really good. So there's two ways. One is you could just ask something like a tool like Gemini or Copilot or ChatGPT to help you write a posting plan, right? Say, this is information about my organization. This is the social media sites that we use. Here's our number of followers. This is where we're located, which is sometimes important because time of day, of course, can be impacted, like based on like who your audience is and where you're located. If posts might do better in the evening or in the morning or at midday. Kind of feed it some of that information and say, like, I'm trying to create a posting schedule, a posting plan. What should I take into consideration with that? There's a really good tool called, I believe it's called buffer.com. It's been around a really long time, but it's all about scheduling social media posts, and it works with LinkedIn. For a long time, it didn't support Instagram very well, but I think that they've solved that problem, posting direct to Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, X, probably some other platforms as well. And they have like a really good calendar and schedule, and they do A/B testing on finding the optimal time to send posts out to followers based on your specific followers, on your specific profiles. Over time, it will start to learn which times get the highest rates of engagement. So Buffer, I can definitely recommend, and I'm sure that they've got some AI integration as well, probably also with helping to write some of that social media content as it's being scheduled.
Judson, do you anticipate adding notes like that about Buffer or whatever to the notes at the bottom of this particular presentation?
I will. Yeah, I will add that, and I will include Buffer as well in the list of services that we have in our resources list, and we'll speak to that one as well in a side note. Yeah.
Great. We have a couple of just general, can you recommend questions, and I think you've covered most of them. So again, they will be included as part of the material that we send out. And we are working madly to improve causes.igive.com to be a resource for helping the folks who use iGive and even people who don't use iGive to better achieve their missions. Here's a really interesting one. How can beginners in AI, and I count myself as a beginner in AI, rapidly improve their skills and become proficient users?
Oh, practice, for sure. I mean, it's not just, and it's not maybe just about using one tool either. I mean, I really think this is one of those spaces where the more you use some AI tool or tools in your daily life, like find ways to integrate it in, or when you want to do a Google search, maybe ask an AI first instead to see like what will it tell you. Some AIs will also kind of act as an advanced Google search where they will cite their sources. And we saw that last week with Copilot, that Copilot would give a really nice text description, and then it would say, or check these websites for additional information. And I think it's just through that, trying to understand like, what can it do, right? Like in the beginning, for me, which was only really a year ago, I was asking AI to like help me with text refinements, or maybe I'd give it a list of topics and I'd ask for it to summarize or group different points by categories, or questions that were asked as part of the registration process for this webinar. For example, when people said, I've worked with AI, here's how I've worked with AI, here's something I'd like to learn about AI, I asked the AI to summarize that, because we had so much content that it just seemed like, well, I could read all that, but I could also get a really nice summary. And in the beginning, I did a lot of testing that, right? Like I would ask for maybe a summary and I'd read it and okay, that's nice. Is it real? And I'd go over and I'd read the raw material. And over this last year, I've really come to see that it's pretty good at like sorting data and making summaries of an input if you give it. Now, because we're working on the website and doing a lot of things there, I do a lot of the like copying like code from the website and say, hey, can you explain this to me? I don't understand what's happening in this JavaScript. Just tell me what it does. And it'll tell me what it does line by line. This is what each function does, and this is what each line does, and this is what you can expect for this piece of JavaScript to create. And so it's like, that's much more advanced, of course, than than asking for snippets of text in the beginning. But it was through using it every day and through starting to like shift my mind into thinking about working with AI instead of going to Google or other websites as a first step or an only step. That this is how I started to feel like I really was gaining a proficiency working with AI myself.
So to sort of summarize, the free tools give you a chance to play and
oh yes,
learn what it does and what it doesn't do. That's actually a follow-on question I have. What is AI bad for?
What is AI bad for? So that list is probably very long. So I don't use it really for images. I think it makes very cool images. And the image that we made today was interesting and abstract and artsy, and it followed the direction I gave it more or less, right? You could see the Van Gogh inspiration there. But I often find that it's so slow with image generation, and the people who make these incredibly beautiful images there, I got so much respect for them. They must be I think they've really picked up a lot of experience, because they have these very long prompts with very specific kind of like coded language details about image generation. So I can't say it's bad at image generation. It's great, but it for me, it just takes like too much time at the present moment. I'd rather go to do a Google image search and find out, what does, is there an image I can find out there that's a creative license and use that myself. But that's not to say that that I don't encourage, of course, experimenting with the image generators. I spend a lot of time in there too. They're very interesting, but I think for every person, it's going to be a little different if that's useful or not.
Just a quick follow-on for images. Can Crayon generate an image based on an existing image?
That's a good question. I looked at that earlier to see if I could do that, and I did not find an immediate way to do it, but I did not dig too deeply into it. There are some AIs, I believe, who can. I think maybe Midjourney and DALL-E potentially can do those things, but I haven't had any experience with that myself until now.
One of the later questions to come in mentions that YouTube requires checking if AI created content is part of the video. Do should we have concerns about having content flagged as AI generated?
Yeah, so I think that's back to the kind of the legal question, right? I mean, I'm not sure what YouTube's motivation there is, if that is then about pushing any liabilities of AI generated content that was copy protected, and they find that out like in the far future, that you, the person who posted it, kind of then own responsibility for its authenticity, or they have some other policy. There's probably a combination there, or maybe they're just taking a survey and asking. But I'm going to guess there's like a legal reason for that question, and it goes back to the point that if we are using AI to create something, it might be new to us, and it may be very much a new set of pixels on a screen that never existed before, but it is going to be inspired by something human made. And there's still a big question out there as to whether or not, well, it's not about if that is permissible or not, but it's about where the boundaries are of that. And this hasn't been fully answered yet. So, this is I think this is, it makes sense. If YouTube is asking this, then if you post a video that has AI in it, then certainly comply and be honest and let them know that that it does.
Yeah, I personally, I don't know that it's necessarily a legal question. It is, what do you owe your audience? How do you be appropriately transparent as people are more and more used to AI being a generator of what you see or what you hear, and how are they accepting that? Context is going to matter. So if you're presenting something as being original from a human being and it's actually created by AI, I think you're not doing right by your audience. So
that makes sense.
It's an ethical and also a marketing kind of a question, and this is going to change rapidly. It's a great question. We got the question of, can you do the opposite? That is, can you give content and ask AI to provide the code for it?
So that's interesting. So
thinking about it.
I'm curious what type of content specifically is meant there, because like if you put like website code there, it would already be in the form of code. But just to speak to the code example, since I gave that earlier, and I asked if, say, for example, here's code that already exists in the website. I don't understand it. Help me understand it. What does it do? There's also then the follow-up question is, can this code be more efficient? Can I get it to do an additional thing? Or, oh, maybe one of the things it does I don't need it to do. Let's take that out. Or I'm on a page and an example, when creating the registration page for this webinar, it was easy enough to create a landing page that I found attractive, that had information, two columns that had information about the webinar on one side and then a registration form for the webinar on the other side. But I'm not super proficient at JavaScript, so making an action link out of this submit button so that it would send the registration information to our database, and that it would then hide that, like upon the form being sent and us getting a confirmation from the server that the data had been collected, that we wanted to then hide the content on the screen and show a confirmation message that also had links that to download calendar reminders and stuff like that. And on one side, I could redirect everyone to a new page, which would have been fine. But in this case, I actually asked it to hide one set of content and show another set of content. And that actually was, I don't know, 40, 50 lines of JavaScript that I was not very well prepared to write myself. And I think I still needed to ask somebody to take a look at that with me in the end to make sure it was really working. But working with the AI, telling it like, here's what I want to do, I could give it enough kind of coding language to say, I've got this set of code with an ID of X, this one with an ID of Y. When this action, when this button is clicked, I want to validate this form, send the data, and then I want to hide X, show Y. How do I do that, right? Like, here's all the steps I want it to follow. And it gave me the code easily enough. Probably we went through a couple rounds of that before it was working exactly as expected. But that's a use case that I do all day, every day, asking AI to help me write code or understand code that I'm already working with.
Well, that brings us to the end of the questions that we're going to answer. We actually have a couple of questions that we're not going to answer because of time, but we know who asked them, so we can send them specific responses. Judson, I'm going to let you bring it home.
Okay, well, thank you everybody for joining. And yeah, as Rob shared at the top of the hour, iGive's running a special right now, a bonus that anyone who joins iGive and between now and May 31st, if they then shop within 30 days of joining, they're going to raise an extra $5 for their selected cause. So if you are a cause administrator, please do share iGive with your followers and encourage them to join iGive and install the browser extension, the iGive button. And when they get to shopping, that'll be for each person $5 coming your way. Great. So with that, thank you so much. And we will get this published as quickly as possible and share with you the rest of the answers we have for your questions. We also should have another webinar coming in a couple weeks, and the causes.igive.com website will have information about that as soon as it's published. Until then, take care.